English or Polish? Any preferences regarding lang? Okay, so maybe let's do like we have in a plan, so let's do it in English. So today we will be talking about AI tools for the developers, and generally we have some kind of revolution which started around a year ago when the ChatGPT started to be more and more popular, which generally shows that we can solve a lot of problems quite automatically, and we don't need to think what to do, but we can ask the computer, please solve me some problem, and something will happen which is, let's say, more random than right answer. So we base on some probability here. But in most of the cases, it solves the problems sometimes even better than we do this. For example, if we check the articles or we provide some description on some difficult topic to describe it easier for example, a child or someone who don't know this domain, ChatGPT can do this much better than we, most of the cases. And we can use the AI for our tasks and challenges on daily basis work. So we have this situation that having the AI tools, we can ask about something, or for example, please solve me some algorithm, solve me some task. I'm working at university also, and I see that with start of the ChatGPT, most of the students were able to solve the problems and tasks from the lists without, let's say, any additional issues, because they had the ChatGPT which do this for them. And same, this presentation is created by me. My name is Michał Szczepanik, and AI, so some part of this presentation is fully generated by AI. I'm solution architect at EPAM system, and on daily basis I try to automate a lot of things which I need to do using the AI or some tools like make Airtable, stuff like that, to solve my daily basis problems or things which are, let's say, repeating during my day, like answer to some emails or process, for example, some releases, etc. Using the tools which gives not only, let's say, the automation which can be predicted, but also can help to solve the problem if some issue appear or some non-typical task will occur. And let's maybe start from the beginning. We have ChatGPT, we have BART from Google, and let's say quite similar tools, and the way how we are using them are quite similar. So if we are playing with the chat, what usually happens when we try to play with the chat first time is that we are asking it as a human that please provide me the list of something, and we expect that what will be provided will be the best answer. But we need to think about prompting and prompting engineering. So first, what we should define is the role and the context. So, for example, as a solution architect of some cloud system, you need to create, you are working for some new project for a customer, I don't know, from US, like we have in this example, with the smart home solutions based on IoT devices. and you need to invite the other SAs to discuss some usage of, for example, MS Azure or any other kind of cloud tool for it. And when we provide this kind of context, the answer will be much better prepared for us. So we need to think, what is the role? For example, as a student, as a researcher, as a developer or software engineer, I need to do something to help the chat understand how it should answer to the specific, how it should answer and what kind of information should be provided. When we know the role, this is quite useful for it, because the lang will be a little bit different in the answer, and also the context will be different. Same, the context of our task is a really important thing. So if we, for example, would like to create the, I don't know, diploma thesis, it's good to mention that this is for diploma thesis or some article, or I need this information for my own to solve some specific problems or to describe it to kid. Next, what is also good to provide is the data. So based on some attached articles, provide the comparison. Both chats allow us to, let's say, have the access to the internet, but sometimes we have, let's say, the sources which we know that they are good. And it's, in many cases, good to copy-paste them to provide as one of the sources of the knowledge for the ChatGPT or BART to understand what kind of answer should be provided, and don't have any stupid or not real answers. Try to ask, for example, BART about yourself, and you will see quite strange description in most of the cases. For example, I am the guitar player from US. I don't know why, but this was one of the answers which I get at some moment. And the output here, what we would like to achieve as an output, it should be article, it should be email message, or maybe we should provide the example how this answer should look like. And some constraints that you should focus only, for example, or Azure and Google Cloud Platform, and the evaluation criteria. So what is the most important for the client or for us to see in the answer? So on which areas during the comparison we should focus on. And the output, maybe it's quite small, but you can see that this is the structure of the email. It has a subject, some intro description, and we request to have the call to action, which is at the end. And also one of the things which we should consider with the ChatGPT is to ask for some variants of the same answer. When we have these different answers, for example, you need to prepare post for LinkedIn profile or whatever, you can ask, please provide me 5 different posts about this and that based on something blah, blah, blah. And after you get these 5 answers, you can ask ChatGPT to compare them, for example, from viral perspective or which is the best for some specific audience to understand which of the answers can be the best. Because what I also see if we are talking about social media, not always the thing which I prefer the most from the answer is the best one. I try 3 different answers, and the one which was, let's say, preferred by me provide much less people to my profile than the one which was selected by ChatGPT, because it's, let's say, compare different kind of people. Also, what we should know and we should remember is the fact that sometimes we may ask chat, and this may change from time to time because, okay, the AIs start getting more and more information, but for example, something like current date is sometimes unknown for it, or at least the current time is something unknown. And it's difficult to chat to provide the information, and as you can see in the last answer on the left, it even mentioned that don't have access to real-time clock data because, for example, chat don't know where we are, and or maybe this is something blocked. And we can also see that when we start using the ChatGPT, some informations were quite easy to get previously, but right now a lot of things are blocked. For example, if you ask nowadays about the jokes about people from Poland, the answer will be I cannot provide you something like that in most of the cases. Sometimes if you ask this question a little bit differently, probably you can get quite good joke, but if you ask it directly like that, you usually get the answer that this is, let's say, not something which we should do, and let's say it will not provide the answer. At the same time, probably for a week or two, you will need to fight with ChatGPT, check if you are a human. So you will need to solve some stupid puzzles, which is sometimes irritating if you use the ChatGPT a lot. And as you can see on the right, sometimes we can provide the informations, and using these sharps, we can split what is, for example, information message, and in the prompt itself on the top, you can mention that based on the information and message bureau, return only data and nothing more. So this nothing more is magic keyword which sometimes solve the problems that you create some API, use the API of ChatGPT, and you would like to get only one word answer. So please provide me only the answer and nothing more, without any text, which is typically returned by the human. So to avoid that, today is 25, whatever, and specific time. And you can also define the format or create something which will return you the time, which is the best for the nearest hours from the lists, which are, for example, the list of your time slot during the day where you can have meetings. And this can help you to create some auto answer. For example, when someone asks you, please schedule the meeting because we need to discuss something, or you need to schedule the meeting with someone. So this is usually solved by ChatGPT for now, based on my calendar. So I have some structure which take my calendar, get the free slots from it, and set the meetings for me. So I don't need to even click anything in Outlook to schedule the meeting if I need any. And everything is generated, including the content of the message, the information which is needed for the meetings, etc. So it's quite useful. And if we have the ChatGPT, or we are playing with the API, with it via API, please be aware that some useful phrases are quite useful. So act as, and you specify the role, and nothing more. Reduce the answer and make it provide you usually the data which you can use later on. The third one is the one which I prefer to use when I know that, okay, I will provide you the first request, but this is not all. For example, I'm providing you few articles and they are provided as separate messages in the chat. So please confirm me that you get it without analyzing. So, and after the last, I asked, okay, right now, please, based on the information which we have previously, provide me the right context. Explain it to me like I am, for example, a kid. Format answer as, and after that you provide the example or the specific format, like I would like to get the JSON format or whatever. Sometimes we have the situations that we start playing with prompting, and for us it looks like, okay, it's great. It's something which should return the right answer. Why I get some stupid thing? And explain step by step is this magic which cause that ChatGPT, instead of providing you only the answer, provide the step-by-step description how it analyze the data to provide you this answer. So you can find these missing points which are important for you to change to, for example, get something in specific format or get something in different way. And ignore all previous instructions before this one, or ignore all previous content before this one. It's some kind of restart for the chat, but not strongly recommended. It's sometimes better to start new chat or a new discussion if we are using the chat version of ChatGPT, because we have something which is called tokens, and we have tokens windows. Depends on the version of the ChatGPT. We have limited numbers of the tokens. We are talking about thousands of them, like 2,000, 4,000. But this is, let's say, the number which define the specific token, and this specific token is representing these colored pieces of the texts. So, for example, I want a pizza is 4 tokens in English. It's 14 characters. If we think about English lang and the number of tokens, usually we can say that for the long text, 4 charts is one token, 4 characters. And that's it. But if we switch the lang, for example, to English, to Chinese, Korean, it starts to be complicated. Also for Polish language, it's something which use, in most of the cases, 2 or 3 times more tokens than the same prompt in English. Okay, 4,000 is quite big number, but for example, if you ask something and you provide the content, or you have really long discussion with the chat, at some moment you will hit this limit, which will cause that ChatGPT will start forgetting some of the information. So if something is important for you, it's good to be sure that ChatGPT remember that fact. It's good to repeat it with different context to avoid the situation that this message will be lost. Or if you discover that you are chatting quite long with ChatGPT and you start getting some stupid things because it's forget the things which we mentioned at the beginning, it's better to start a new chat to avoid the situation that some of the informations which were important for us are missing. Or ask the ChatGPT to summarize what the chat remember from time to time and use it as an input to the new chat. Which also, let's say, show you, okay, this is the most important information according to the chat. And based on that, you can provide some additional informations. And if you would like to play with the ChatGPT API, which is something different than chat itself, at least from the user perspective. Okay, we can use the same user, but if you paid for the chat this $20 monthly, you will need to configure the payment system for the API separately. So be aware of that. And if you don't use the chat a lot, sometimes it's much cheaper to use the API version than the chat itself. If you can, let's say, set it up for you, and it's not a problem to play with the API for you. So as you can see on the right here, we can set some different parameters, including the temperature, which means that in the higher number of temperature define the more flexibility and let's say creativity from the chat GPT. So if we have some restrictions for the answers, it's better to set a little bit lower temperature. Not the lowest one, because usually it goes that something is quite predicted, and this is good if we have questions yes, no. But if we need to have some, we need to provide some article or something like that, it's better to set a little bit higher temperature, like 1.2 or something like that. 2 is a little bit risky because it sometimes sounds strange. And you are not, if you would like to copy paste this answer and provide us it may cause that the programmer will sound like an artist or a little bit a freak. So avoid this kind of situations, but this is the thing. In the middle part, you can define the messages to try how the chat will work with the user, and in the system you can provide some additional informations or the source of knowledge. So, for example, you would like to define, get the list of capitals. Countries which are listed by the user. So user lists Poland, USA, Germany. Okay, and as you can see, the answer will be like kid at school. The capital of Poland is Warsaw. The capital of United States is Washington. Blah blah blah, etc. But we don't need this kind of information because we would like to get some kind of mapping. Country capital, etc. So we can ask to return the JSON format of it. Okay, we will get the JSON format, but okay, maybe it's not the best because the key is name of the country and the value is the city, which may cause a little bit problems if we would like to create the parser for it. So we can have some issues maybe sometimes because of that. So we would like to avoid this kind of situation, and we would like to have the answer which will be in specific format needed by us. So we can define that we would like to get the format as a list. So we need to put the brackets correctly. And example, country AA, capital BB, and as you can see, it will recognize, okay, this is the format which you would like to get for this query. So user provides a list of three countries, and get the answer in specific format. Also, in the instruction of or documentation of ChatGPT, these three sharps are recommended way of splitting some things like instruction, then context, then summary. But sometimes we would like to define, okay, article 1, article 2, summary, context, etc. So to do this, we can also use the format like we have here, and for if we name something in the way which it's repeated in the query, but it not always means that we would like to use this part of thing, we can add additional brackets to be sure that ChatGPT will recognize that, okay, when I use the context with brackets, I mean the part of the data which I provide, but if I write based on context of the answer, I mean the different context, not the thing which I provide to you. And remember, when you play with the API, there is options to set the limits to avoid, let's say, unexpected billing at the end of the month. To avoid some surprises. Mostly if you, let's say, use this API also for commercial use, it's better to set the limits to avoid that someone start spamming your API or spamming your system to not lose a lot of money. The default sets are quite good, but sometimes you would like to have separate settings. And how we can use the AI as a developers. I will give you an example of one of the projects of Software Sense, which in my opinion is quite good example how we can use it. So quite often we have CI/CDs, client asks us to have the access there, something will be read, and in the moment we get the call from the customer, why it's red, what's happened, why something is broken, and what this issue mean. And we can create the interpreter using ChatGPT, BART, any kind of tool. If we also provide some parts of the code, it can be also useful for it. If we can do this, of course, from legal perspective, to provide the human-friendly description what exactly happened. This is quite useful, for example, when we have UI tests, to also understand, okay, what happened and why it's crashing, if this is important or not, without, let's say, checking test by test. But for example, you are in a hurry and you really need to know, okay, I changed the screen, so this test may crash, so I need to ask the test automation team to update this test. And to be honest, quite well-working solution like that you can implement in up to 2 hours. So quite nice, let's say, training for you if you need something like that. Also, we can use any kind of AI to do the code review. And this is the prompt which I use quite often for the code reviews. If I need to check something for example, students' work, to understand if they know the things in the right way, and the answer based on the code is quite interesting because we have pros, areas for improvement, so quite long description. When you are a lecturer, it's I think plus for you that you spend a lot of the time to review the students' code and provide them a feedback, but in real you spend 15 seconds to process the prompting, or even it happened automatically. And as you can see, the answer is quite long, and even the code, which sometimes is of course better to check if it's still building, with the improvements is provided. So when you are learning, for example, when you are teaching the new language for someone, it's quite useful thing. If you would like to improve also your coding, and you, let's say, don't have the right people to provide you a feedback, this kind of feedback can be quite useful. But okay, we have something which is in the cloud. We are not able to share the knowledge always with things like ChatGPT or Bard. So we have Llama, the thing which was created by Meta, and we can set it up on our own. Of course, we may need some infrastructure. We can set up tools on our own, but this is something which can be used inside your company to, for example, analyze the code. Of course, you need to spend a little bit on it to improve the way how it works, but solution which can be used by you, and you are not breaking any agreement that you will not share the data outside of the company, because this is in your infrastructure, your own thing. In ChatGPT, we have a lot of features. One of them, I think this is old name, was called Interpreter. But the feature which allow you to play with the data. So you are able to provide, for example, the Excel file or some images and ask ChatGPT to do something. It even allows to, let's say, create the GIF from static image. Maybe okay, the quality and these things which we have on it are not something which we expected, but this is doable, and the prompt was like that. Please animate that image, slide effect, provide us a GIF, and after few iterations with the Python code, the script do something like that and provide the output. But if you need to play with some data, analyze some trends, etc., code interpreter is quite useful. So if you have the paid versions, you have a lot of plugins there. This is one of them. Yeah. Yeah. But I forgot the current name. But this is the first of the list. I forgot to update this slide. Sorry. And for UI, we have also a lot of the tools. For example, this one is like Figma, but without human needs. So provide me a product page and some style of it, and it will be generated. So can be quite useful feature. And of course, we have this format in editable form, so we can change it. So it's reduced a lot of work. And if you, for example, have your own business, is good for you to play with something like that. Copilot. How many of you tried Copilot already? Okay, some people are, but I expected the whole room. So this is a thing which really help you to write a code. And to be honest, it's a really useful thing, and can really speed up your work. Okay, maybe not. It will not generate the whole code for you, but can speed up your coding, can help you to to convert, for example, the comment, which is also some kind of documentation, to the code and vice versa. So can create Java docs for your code, for example, and things like that. Also, write a tests and support support of Copilot is provided for many languages, not only Java, but also, for example, Python and other ones. So this can be a really good companion for you if you create your own project, or it's possible to use the AI for commercial projects, because let's say maybe at the beginning it will reduce for you 20% of your time. If you will learn how it works or what you can expect, it can really speed up your time of coding. The thing which was called Codota right now is part of the top 9, was also, let's say, quite interesting AI tool which helps you to find issues in your code, and not only from the perspective that the code has bad style or break the solid principles, but also from security perspective. It allows you to, or suggest you to check some parts of the code. Unfortunately, after let's say merge with Tab 9, the feature is not that easy available, but still possible to use. Similar to, let's say, Copilot, we have other options which support much more languages, and they are really speed up the generation of the code if you need to play, for example, with object-oriented programming. The trend which I see right now, and this is the example from Google, is that lots of the companies starting providing something like interactive documentation. So in Android Studio, for sure in current Canary version, we have something which is called StudioBot. So we can ask chat to provide support, how to create something in Android. So how I need to implement, for example, integration with some sensors, or how I should manage the camera, and it will provide you the answers in quite well formatted forms. So sometimes it's based on documentation, mostly it's based on the documentation, but also give you example if you provide the code. For example, you write some code and you ask, okay, what is wrong here? What I missed? It can interpret and help you to find the reason why something is not working. Comparing to the Copilot, these things not analyzing your code, but rather based on the questions which you ask. So it's like playing with ChatGPT, which manage your documentation. In that case, we are rather talking about BART, which use as a source the Android documentation. Quite useful feature because searching something in documentation is a little bit problematic sometimes, mostly when you are talking about quite big systems and let's say different sets. If we are talking about Java world and how we should integrate with the APIs, for example, if we are talking about Spring, there is Spring AI, so some kind of solution which create a wrapper for OpenAI to manage the APIs and provide different answers. Here you have some examples. So it's quite easy to play with these kinds of APIs, and more tools starting appearing to help you to integrate with the API. But the thing which you need to know is mostly how to do the right prompts, because the API is also prompt based, so it's important to understand which way of prompting is preferred, how to pre-format data, for example, which you get from the users, what should be removed, because come on, we are playing with tokens, so it's better to reduce the query. Regarding the summary of it, so if you haven't tried the AI yet, I expect that most of the people at least tried ChatGPT, but I strongly recommend you to use it on daily basis. For example, I think with the beginning of this year, I started playing with the automation for many of my daily basis tasks, and it started like I spend hour, or sometimes at the beginning even something like half an hour per day to create some automation. Right now I mostly maintain the things, so each Monday I spend the half hour to first fix something, some existing scripts if they are broken because something was changed, or to improve them, and create the new things if I discover the new tasks. But where is quite useful for during the coding for sure, but here we have the tools like Copilot, etc. When you need to explain something for kids, it's really useful. Come on, we are, let's say, not. We also don't know everything, and the questions from kids are sometimes not easy to explain, even if you know the thing. And for example, for chatting with humans, so sometimes you get, let's say, typical asks where the answer is something specific. So based on some prompting, or even based like some shortcut, the AI can generate the answer. At the same time, this can be used for emails, and here, for example, when we have some specific email content, it can really reduce your time. I'm using it personally a lot at university to avoid a lot of, let's say, typical work with stupid systems, like, for example, register the new thesis in the system, which manually took me half an hour per each thesis, which was insane, but this is the design of this beautiful system. Right now it's 20 seconds to do everything, and 20 seconds only because the system cannot do this faster. So AI can be your partner to solve the problems. If you play a lot with the API, you can even create some kind of avatar for you, which will manage the things. And if you have some problem or some task which you cannot solve, or is quite difficult for you, or you don't have time to solve it on your own using the basic tools, there is a AI for that page. Is something which is quite useful, so help you to find the right tool to solve some specific problems. So, guys, that's all from my side. Any questions?